spooky to start off the day with. Obviously, these are the 9 battlegrounds that you will see throughout the entire first season here of HGC. We have a total of 9 battlegrounds. The first ban was Warhead Junction. The second one was Braxis Holdout for this. And then, of course, we followed up the pick into Towers of Doom. Now, remember, loser will pick the next battleground after we go through this first match. So, with that being said, we're going to start the draft relatively soon. Any heroes you're looking forward to seeing?
It's a good question. The European meta at the moment has been shaken up quite a lot since 2016. Think about what you saw in 2016. You saw a lot of globals in Europe, etc., and things like that. But we're seeing a lot of heavy warrior compositions, a lot of heavy frontline. Yeah. Warriors and melees have become an absolute prevalence in the meta.
And you stating that, just immediately you got to think about here, this warrior, Diablo, being banned out. He gives you that hard engage that's incredibly powerful for teams to use. Now, Misfits is actually going to be banning him out, which is interesting because Dignitas doesn't seem to run much Diablo. It feels like JPL is more of a standard tank player, more Murden, more ETC. However, they don't want to deal with it, ban right away. Something to consider from Dignitas. Do they ban Tychus?
That's a good question. It's become one of the heavier bans in the European scene as of late. Because that warrior meta has been so prevalent, you do not want to have to deal with Tychus' minigun capabilities, being able to chew through those health bars. So that could definitely be a case.
Yeah, it definitely could. And again, you keep talking about it. Europe is starting to go into 2 warrior, almost 3 warrior scenarios at some points. Dignitas elects to get rid of the Tassadar here. Immediately that takes away the Vala comp where you build out Vala, get her with a couple of supports and let her just carry the game with great mechanics. In particular, Darkmok has been running a lot of Vala lately, so Tassadar ban is a good way to start targeting that great player.
Yeah, and this is basically why I'm here, Trixler. What happens is, they pick Ragnaros first pick. I said to you guys, I don't even need being paid. I know Ragnaros is going to be in the meta a lot, so I'm here for free. This is great, because I love to see Ragnaros. He is my favorite hero right now. We see a lot of Q build out of him at the moment. Super strong front line to be able to dish out so much damage, and it protects your structures with Molten Core.
Yeah, and Ragnaros is a hero that you've been playing a lot. He feels almost pseudo-Thrall in a way, right? He's taking that Thrall position. He gets a lot of engage, he gets great AoE abilities, he has great utility as well, and then you mentioned the Molten Core, so great for stopping pushes that could be coming your way, which could be impactful here on Towers of Doom. You never want to lose forts, because of course, your opponents suddenly have an advantage in terms of numbers when they're shelling away. Malfurion picked up right away, and that makes sense. Dignitas lately has been picking a lot of Malfurion to start the foundation of their team. Bakery is very comfortable on that hero.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. He's played far more of that, one would say. You know, and all of these teams are very aware of how the support meta is right now amongst each other. That's why, for example, you're seeing Tassadar being taken away, because you see even a lot of double support with a Tassadar in there to actually complement some kind of heavier shield plays to help out that front line.
Well, with Li Ming being taken up, Misfits got to start thinking about that Varian Li Ming combo. Do they take Varian here? Do they potentially ban him out later on? We'll have to see here, as Misfits has a 2nd and 3rd slot. Now, something to consider is Vala is still up. That's one that you may not want to be left out here for Dignitas later on. A Li Ming and Vala composition can be devastating in team fights.
Yeah, they could be. Now, they might be thinking of taking the support here, but I don't think they're too worried, Misfits, because what we see from Splendor is a great proficiency across Malfurion, Rhaegar, and Brightwing. And Towers of Doom is still good for Brightwing, despite, you know, Rhaegar having some of that strength with the also good Bloodlust at the moment for Ragnaros. He loves that.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. And Splendor is someone that we should talk about a lot during this matchup. Everyone talks about Bakery being a fantastic support in Europe, but Splendor, again, just as great as well. Now, Zeratul and Jaina picked up. Very heavy on damage here. First off, you have the Void Prison into Ring of Frost combo. You have the Ragnaros to kite into if you ever needed to get in a scenario. Great front line and great engage overall for Misfits.
Yeah, this is scary. This is something that Dignitas, we saw making very heavy use of in 2016 for those big wombo combo moves. And this, in the hands of Misfits, with the power that they have behind it, and the coordination that they have between 5 members who have been together forever, I would be now worried if I was Team Dignitas.
Yeah, you got it. And so you start thinking here, what is the route that Dignitas needs to go in terms of bans? It looks like a warrior would be something that would be going towards next year. Do you go for someone that has incredible engage, like ETC here? A Void Prison into an ETC stage dive? Oh my gosh, it's disruption.
I think something that they need to consider is, when you're going up against Zeratul Jaina, the Void Prism is almost guaranteed to come down. You need something to try and disrupt Jaina from getting into range to then throw down a Ring of Frost if that's going to be the case. So maybe something in that warrior vein to try and bully Jaina away away during a big team fight.
That could be a thing. Johanna go ahead and it's the hero banned out. Now Dahaka, ooh, someone that we did forget about. Usually here in North America, we see Dahaka ban in the first and second phase immediately here. But now we have Dahaka being the 4th ban out. Now, suddenly Towers of Doom and Dignitas have a decision of what they need to make. Right now, I'm missing some kind of disruption that you were mentioning. Again, ETC is still available, and ETC is fantastic for the disruptions, especially if he's not caught in the Void Prison. He can stage dive in, get on top of Jaina, and make sure to knock her away and not let the Ring of Frost happen.
And we all know how good JPL can be on ETC.
Oh my gosh, he's a killer.
He's definitely one of the best tanks in Europe for sure. Varian will come out. This was something you were alluding to before. They like to pair up Varian with something like Li Ming for the taunt, for the stun, and there is ETC as well. That front line is a strong one, Trick.
Yeah, that it is. Here's the thing that Dignitas is kind of banking on. If there is ever a situation where Misfits does not hit the Void Prison to Ring of Frost combo, they now have solid engage. They have blow-up potential with Li Ming following up with her Q and her W. And then you have ETC who can stop everything. Right now, Dignitas, in terms of draft, is looking fantastic to handle what Misfits has.
And Zeratul does have to be scared of Varian as well, because Zeratul, he will go in, but it's a click taunt. You taunt Zeratul, and if he is near that Varian at the time, he's not blinking back. He's not wormholing away. He is going to die under some of the pressure that we see here from Dignitas. So Zeratul's got to be played well. Yeah, Varian officially the hater of all mobility. Tracer, Zeratul just does not allow them to do what they would like, where they excel. So Misfits will be rounding out their draft. Still need an engager in some way or some form for me, and I also would love to see a support here for him. I think I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Brightwing overall. I think Ariel could work here, and also Rhaegar is still available. However, you won't be going Bloodlust, I don't think. Yeah, the other warriors that are available now, Leoric, Tyrael, what is going to happen here for Misfits? And Anubarak. Wow. Okay, coming out here to try and negate some of that Li Ming damage coming out. It makes sense. This puts Dignitas in a situation where they have to go for some kind of auto attacker here, or Anubarak's going to have a field day, right? He'll be hit by Varian, but he can sustain through that just enough. But Li Ming with that spell shield, the dampen magic, and also the recent changes to Anubarak having natural spell shield, Anubarak can be in the backline for a while and be quite a pain. And some of the builds that we're seeing at the moment, level 4 with a bit more wave clear for the cleave from your auto attacks, it helps out quite a bit for them to then rotate on around. And the front line is so strong that Anubarak has a great time actually getting on towards that Li Ming towards the back if they want to go for that, couple that up with the Zeratul going very, very deep. All right, Dignitas, what are they thinking about here? I'm feeling like you just immediately start moving towards a Vala. Tychus could work here. Not much of a priority anymore, just looking at the draft that Misfits has. I wouldn't mind Vala just being picked in, working in those auto attacks, and really just being a great backliner to supplement that Li Ming. Yeah, they're looking for something, I guess, for... Oh. Whoa. Okay. Okay, then. That is Snitch. That should be Snitch locking that in there. And that is the full composition round out Trick. That it is. Abathur Hat with Varian can be very disruptive. You also get suddenly the potential to blow up an opposing member, and then from there you move in. So yes, now we are going through the swap phase. Our players will be choosing which hero will be on which player, and then we'll go from there. And then we just get straight into the game here. This is our new tournament draft, and here we go. Players have been revealed, but just a quick thought, Kalaris, in the draft phase, who do you think ekes ahead? I came into this thinking, it's going to be easy to call the draft, but that one's not so easy. That is very difficult to say, because if Misfits does hit their combos, then Dignitas will crumble under the pressure of that Zeratul. That Zeratul Jaina combo that we're seeing from them. But the front line for Dignitas is very strong. And unless Zeratul is playing out of his mind, I'm suspecting it will be Nurok on that Zeratul through the swaps, etc. I didn't quite spot them at the very end. But a lot will be on his shoulders, I feel. I think I agree with you. And Abathur's a wild card too. But hey, you at home, what do you think? Let us know. Tweet us and use that hashtag HGC. We'll read your tweets later on throughout the day and get a feel for what you guys are thinking about this draft. And if you don't have a thought and you just want to express some hype, get on that, man. We're all hyped for this match. Let's be real. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, I think we're going into our match very soon, Trick. I'm excited for this one. Yeah, we are getting very close. Our players are currently loading into the game. I think for myself as well, the main wild card here is Abathur. Abathur being that fifth pick, I really felt like an auto-tech hero in some way or some form would have been a great addition to Dignitas' lineup. Right. But it feels like they understand, okay, if we just get around
the entire combo that you were mentioning about, we can clean up fights relatively well.
And one thing that does come to mind here between these two teams is that Dignitas knows that Misfits have great rotation capabilities, that they do rely on sometimes to actually gain themselves advantages early on. If Abathur can place his mines in the better positions, he can then slow down a lot of the momentum that we're seeing here from Misfits and try and kind of rein it back into the control of Dignitas a bit.
Yeah, and one thing to also think about too is the early game, while Abathur has a hard time struggling, when you get to mid to late game, and it's a scenario where these teams are probably going to get there, Abathur turns online, right?
Yes.
He starts pushing down the fort, suddenly you have a fort that's lost, suddenly you're down 5 to 3 shots, next thing you know it's 6 to 2, next thing you know a boss is stolen, and the game can just snowball out of control. So something that Dignitas will definitely have to rely upon.
I want to bring up something just a little bit further left field outside of this game and say that this series, to start things off for HGC, is probably quite monumental, I would say, for Misfits in particular. They start their week here in HGC Europe going up against the two toughest opponents, Dignitas, and later on in this week, they're going to go up against Fnatic. If they get the ball rolling here, Trick, could be amazing. Momentum
could be powerful for them because, as Klaus mentioned, they definitely have the hardest road to start off with HGC Fnatic, and then Sunday Fnatic, and then today with Misfits. So again, just getting nice momentum here could be great. On the other side too, Dignitas wants to prove themselves, right? You have Zelia as your 5th player. You want to come in and say, hey, listen, we have a roster swap, but we are completely confident in our new player. In fact, we've been hearing it in the background. Zelia is an amazing player. He's got great hero diversity. It all comes down to how does he match up with these quad 4 that's been together for so long?
That's a really good question, because it could either crash and burn in the first couple of weeks, or it could go fantastically because he is such a skilled player.
All right, well, it's time to start. Dignitas taking on Misfits in game number 1, a best-of-5 series on Towers of Doom.
All right, excited for this one, Trick. Our first game of HGC Europe. And to the left-hand side, we have Team Dignitas. Let's have them introduce themselves.
James Baker, a.k.a. Baker.
Jérôme Trine, a.k.a. JPL.
Thomas Cailleux, a.k.a. Mene.
Joshua Bennett, a.k.a. Snitch.
Ken Rasmussen,
a.k.a. Celia.
And to the far right, our red team.
Markus Hanke, a.k.a. Bloomby.
Simon Darwin, a.k.a. Dark Mock.
Nils Gitter, a.k.a. North. Ljubomir Zagorski, a.k.a. Splendor.
Dennis Schneider, a.k.a. Hazorbs.
So immediately we start seeing these rotations for our teams. Varian goes to the bottom lane. Blumby will be playing Anubrek down here on the right. And Abathur is actually sitting in the middle lane. Zeratul and Ragnaros took that time to actually push in the top lane and start trying to deny some of that ammo.
All right, and one thing that Dignitas is probably going to have to focus on here, and there's quite a few that they're going to have to focus on for sure, but I think something like chemistry with Zelia is something that is quite prolific here between them. They really need to make sure that they're coordinating well with their newest member. Sometimes they've had roster swaps and it hasn't gone well at the beginning, sometimes it has. Let's see how it's going to focus in here with their new member.
Yeah, and it's very important that they actually build towards him a little bit too, because he's under the community eye right now. Everyone's been watching for the new player to see how he does. Now, going straight into it, Misfits seems to play a bit more passive right now. In fact, Mane and crew are taking advantage of this. They're sieging down the middle lane, trying to get a little bit of experience. Now, let's talk about Misfits and their keys to victory. What they need to do to pull out a win here. Overall, I think they just need to push Dignitas to their limits. Right now, we've been hammering on it, but it's going to be a talking point, I believe, throughout this entire series. How does Zelia do? And if you push them to their limits, you can find those weaknesses that they just haven't quite worked on in their small time of being together. Also, map control. We know that Misfits, you mentioned it earlier, wonderful when it comes to rotations. They understand how to run the map. However, the aggressive play is coming here from Dignitas. They move into the bottom right side here, take away the mercenary camps, and get some pressure on that bottom lane.
Yeah, very nicely done. You can already see Snitch here actually starting things off with a more team build focused orientated build. So he's actually gone for pressurized glance, following it up with prolific dispersal just to make sure that those rotations were a little harder here for Misfits and the boys. But overall, he will have a little bit more oomph in those team fights, which is really going to help them against Misfits.
So this is where Abathur naturally hurts, as the first Ultra Spawn. There is
Yeah.
3 Ultras available, which means there's more bodies on the field here for Misfits, and they go ahead and try to secure both of the Ultras. However, Dignitas did poke enough in the top right corner to be aggressive, and there's no rotation here. Misfits may just have to give this up, because they also have to worry about also soaking the experience that Abathur could be doing in its entire rotation.
Yeah, the longer this goes on, the better it is for Dignitas, really. With them threatening this location, they're going to keep poking it and poking it, but you're right. Thankfully, Misfits have spread themselves well, so that's okay, but if this does go Dignitas' way, it's not the best situation. Still, a lot is on Nurok. This continual delay here from Hasuabs and Nurok is proving very, very well coordinated.
Yeah, it really is, actually. Hasuabs has a great poke with the Q there. He also has Ragnaros in the bottom left with the W, and then we also have Nurok on the right here that can drop in a Singularity Spike if need be.
Yeah, that was important, an important moment there for Misfits. They did actually rotate everybody away from that bottom lane, but they're actually going to put pressure on towards Blumby. Doesn't quite die off, gets on her way there. Ragnaros towards the bottom, played by Dartmock, has gone back there to soak up the experience at just the right time. So despite them trying to challenge for this, it's still been soaked quite well by Misfits.
Yeah, not a bad job at all. They're a little bit ahead. Now, just noting builds real quick, Varian has actually moved into level 4. He's got that Warbringer, and this is where that Varian Ling Ming combo comes into fruition. You have the immediate engage. All we need is Zelia to say, all right, I'm moving in for the fight. Mane follows up with the QW. Easy picking as they can nail it.
Yeah, it's strong now, but it's even stronger at level 10 if the taunt is to come into play, which is kind of the more go-to that we see at the moment for Varian. He's a versatile guy, but taunt is pretty much the absolute go-to right now in competitive play.
I love just the positioning of Hasuabs in the top right corner. He just continually keeps poking down
hasn't
this
moved.
filter. He literally holds this area, lets the lane push in the top left. His ammo and his turrets up here will kill off those minions, so he naturally soaks the experience as well. His entire job is to hit Q right now.
Is this the longest you've ever seen a shrine up on this map?
Yeah, pretty much.
After the first phase. This is crazy.
After watching this, I think that Hasuabs could be a professional Lili player, man. He hits Q very, very well. Nurok continues to float around at the same time, and now we're starting to see Misfits make a play. They start moving in. What they're winning on is for someone to move to the middle lane and soak the experience, and that's when they make their move. And this is the time that they've done it. Zelia moves in, gets the charge on Nurok, however, not quite the follow-up he would like from Mayonnaise to get some damage on there. JPL, though, getting aggressive.
He was looking to breach that location there. Hasuabs is going to go back to his good old position. Look at him rotating up towards the top. Poke, but 2 people are channeling. Dignitas figures it out. They figured out the puzzle. I like it.
They figured out the power play here. What's better than 1 person channeling? 2 people channeling.
Yeah.
They secure the altar and now a 36-32 score. But the good news here is overall from Misfits, as they delayed it so long that both teams, by the time the next altar phase does spawn, will be near level 10, which means the combo that we've been talking about throughout the entire draft phase comes online.
Yeah.
Zeratul into Jaina really being able to get that team fight win, and if they get that team fight win, they take altars.
I think it's interesting how Misfits have crafted their composition, but then also their builds. Not only using Anubarak to soak up the only huge damage coming out from Li Ming, but also Fire Ward at level 4 for Ragnaros to try and soak up some of that damage too. But Dignitas, putting on pressure down here, they're doing very well for themselves in terms of the pressure.
Yeah, brilliant rotation. They realized that their opponents had gone top lane, started pushing in, so they moved all the way down the bottom lane, said, Abathur, make sure to soak the middle experience, and we're good to go. They get a fort taken out. Now, Misfits are trying to respawn, but the response is just slightly a little bit too late here. If they can get a little more damage on this fort, they could take it off, but it looks like it will survive, especially with Abathur bringing the hat in.
And I love the Zeratul build that we're going for Misfits as well on Nurok. It's kind of the more new school of the not only the Vorpal Blade, but Seeker in the Dark as well at level 7. So that means, basically, he can make huge plays happen. He can be in, then out, then in, then out. And it really causes a lot of problems for Dignitas to keep track of where he's going to be.
I like how Dignitas has kind of put Misfits in a pinch down here. You need to come get this fort, you need to get level 10, because we're further ahead right now, which means we have Guntrix at the next altar. Everyone's moved down here from the Misfits, except for Ragnaros, who's soaking in the middle lane, which means everyone has to be kind of careful. Even Blumby to a degree, even though he has a dampen magic and can deal with the aggression from Mane, he has to watch out for Zelia. Zelia actually does a decent amount of damage to him, being the variant here.
Level 10's hitting now, and they're grabbing themselves their heroic abilities. So we have Mosh Pit, we have Taunt, we have Wave of Force, Ultimate Evolution, and then, of course, we have the Twilight. I can't even see on the screen. What have we got? Twilight Dream?
Twilight Dream, man.
Okay, sick. But the thing is that situation, when you take a fort down there like that, as quickly as Dignitas has, the problem accelerates more for Misfits because they're going up against Nabatha. Because he's on the map while they're trying to zone out from actually retaking that bell tower down towards the bottom right-hand corner. So Misfits really wants to get out of this tight bind.
Yeah, they do, and here they go. They make a slight play here. Zelia just being in the front line, just completely tanky. He did pick up taunt, by the way, so he'll be able to help out in these fights. So watch for this combo. Just constantly watch for Zelia and Mayne and their coordination and how they work together. The good news is Misfits did grab the fort in the top left, but it was a little bit too late. 36-27 is the score.
I've just realized that Zeratul Jaina becomes extremely more scary with Sulfura Smash in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
That is going to be brutal if anybody actually gets caught in it.
Yeah, you get that massive damage, and it's incredibly impactful if you hit in the center, and it's relatively easy to hit up if you do get the combo. They have the potential here just to eliminate someone and get a upper hand no matter what. Even if the entire combo only takes out 2 people, you're still in a 5v3 at that point. And Ragnaros, again, is very good at dancing around a fight. We're finally looking like we're going to get this fort taken, but they've been down here for, what, 2 minutes? Meanwhile, Abther's already starting to work on the fort in the top left.
On towards him, and he actually tries to use Warbring on towards New York there with that charge. It's going to be a Ring of Frost coming out. Not quite coordinated with any Void Prism or anything like that. The bell tower will end up falling. Lumpy is going to go deep there on towards Zelia, and that is going to be the Void Prism. Molten Core has been popped as well. Can they time it?
Smash. It comes out, and we see amazing damage here on JPL. Bakery in trouble as well. He goes for the Dream, but it does nothing. 2 members eliminated from this team, and we're going to have a nice play overall. I love the Void Prison into Ragnaros Molten Core.
Absolutely. And not only that, we can actually take another look at that fight in just a moment here to really kind of break down some of the smaller fine points of it. So look where the Void Prism is. From there, not only in Molten Core can you use the abilities, but you can also use Sulfura Smash. That eliminated the ultimate evolution instantly, and then from that point on, they were able to take down many kills.
Wonderful pickups, effectively 3 kills there, 1 being ultimate evolution, but still wonderful. And now, Misfits swing all momentum into their favor. Bottom left fort, top left fort taken out, 6-2 in shots if they're able to secure 1 altar. If they could already get both of them, that's 12 potential shots. However, they take the safe play. They know that they are in a lead and they're going to get more value out of this.
Oh, I'm already so excited to start off HGC Europe with a match like this. You can see the skill going into it. Even just that first altar phase was so long. Wave of Force will push Hasselhoff off there. Zelia's going to charge on towards Blumby. He will manage to get out with the Burrow charge, but Dignitas controls this position once again.
That they do. Ringer Frost just now coming up. Is Dignitas going to take them both? He does take them both. That's going to be 4 shots. So Misfits, the momentum does go their side, but Dignitas, knowing that Ring of Frost wasn't up for a good 15 seconds, went for the hard engage, got enough people pushing back, especially in a Nubrak, and getting cleanse use, is now in a scenario where they took both altars.
You could see Hasselhoff's running to his safe space up towards the top to try and get that bolt off, but it wasn't even required for 2 people to challenge that. Zelia still had it anyway, but now Misfits putting on a lot of pressure. They have their level 13s quickly here, and with Ragnaros now having a little bit more strength against stuns, he's not only strong against Li Ming with his Fire Ward, but he's also strong against if Varian wants to jump on him and try and do more damage.
Yeah, really, you just see Misfits understanding that the wave clear for this entire team is relatively lackluster. Even with Calamity on Mayne, Mayne, again, it doesn't affect minions anymore, so you can't actually clear out waves that well. ETC's having to do most of it, but ETC's having to be here in the front line, and Amather, while he does okay, again, has to wait till he gets 13 and 16 talents, even though he went for the W build. So Misfits just pushing all of Dignitas in and taking full advantage.
I completely agree. You can see the exertion because of Abatha's position. Look at where he is currently on the minimap. He is not feeling comfortable enough to go anywhere. And when you're in that situation, Abatha provides a little bit to the team fight, but not a huge amount unless Ultimate Evolution is there and available to actually go, go, go. So this is kind of scary here for Dignitas at the moment.
That it is. Pushing down the bottom left. They're starting to have some mercenaries here. Maybe could get on the scoreboard here. JPL's in a situation to move in for a power slide and potentially maybe hit a mosh point or mosh pit at some point, but Splender's positioning is just perfect right now.
Important to note, Dignitas is actually not that safe right next to this kill field. As much as, yes, they don't allow the melee to engage into them, a Void Prism and Ring of Frost could still do big damage to them around here, but Misfits is playing it carefully. They know they don't have to overextend anymore at all because they have 5 of the bell towers currently. Just back off and play it safe.
Yeah, you're right. The main play there was to get the mercenaries at least down to that area, but to save your fort. If you get no damage on the fort, it's going to be much harder for Dignitas to move into a scenario to stop this altar channel. Now the altars are up in the next 7 seconds. JPL leading his team into a situation where maybe he can get to an engagement. Misfits should at least force the bottom one.
Yeah.
They are. Zeratul is down there.
Good stuff, and that will get them quite a few shots. Even Molten Core being used to try and stop and delay that being channeled in towards the middle. And that's a great tool, considering that they've got one person channeling. They know they're outnumbered towards this. Use Molten Core, get that poke done, allow Zeratul to get back into the fight and make this even.
And then Ragnaros afterwards can actually come join this fight.
Yes.
So finally, back on the scoreboard, Misfits is 31-23. They're looking to get 5 more points here if possible. Watching this dance here, watching Nerok on the bottom left, he's definitely going to be one of the main engagers. And then Hasuop should be your other eye. Watch for these Ring of Frost. Everything is currently up for our teams.
It feels like an eternity since we've got to see Misfits playing at such a high level, because they weren't at BlizzCon, they weren't at some of the other tournaments, etc. They played the qualifiers but kind of just plowed on through it, and now going up against Dignitas here, you can see the precision in their play.
The spread is great from both teams here. ETC finally taking some damage. The first punch goes out, but wonderful ice block from Bakery into a Twilight Dream. However, Zeratul is keeping up with the pressure, pushing down the fort. Bakery will escape. Ring of Frost goes down on the right side. JPL low on HP. Misfits looking much healthier right now in the team fight. Mane trying to escape, but he is going to be taken out. Ancestor Healing is used 5-3 right now in score.
Yeah, JPL under a lot of threat as well. Darmok's probably going to try and block him here along with Nerok. He will end up going down. That's 3-0 at the moment as Misfits here looking to plow on towards this bell tower. If they can get this one, put some pressure on the top as well, that's going to be amazing.
All right, fort will be taken out for Misfits. They're being a great scenario. Let's check out the replay and see how exactly that entire team fight unfolded for the Misfits.
Something that was really important there, just before we actually got into that replay, was that Hasuobs was zoned down, so he couldn't get the perfect Ring of Frost on towards that Void Prism. But from that point on, he was super isolated outside because he was trying to zone chain around so much, and that really escalated. They had no proper front line for the other members of the team.
Wonderful team fight. A boss was grabbing as well, and Misfits, who were down in the early game, are now making a play in the mid to late game. They finally take the lead for the game, 23-20, and they can keep up with it as well. Grabbing mercenary camps in the top, that'll put a little bit of pressure on that fort, maybe some damage as well. Grab some more mana, come back in, and keep doing what you're doing.
Well, game is by no means over just yet. Dignitas has scrambled themselves from more difficult situations than this one, although Misfits is not gonna let up. They have their level 16 talents, likewise so did Dignitas. They have caught up a little bit, Trick.
Yeah, right now the main objective for Misfits is just keep control of the map. And one of the best ways to do it is consistently grab the mercenary camps. You don't have to get value on them hitting the core or even hitting a fort, but keeping them away from your opponent prevents them from getting into a point where they do have a comeback. Now, something to mention is 16-16. In terms of actual even footing, it is very even between our teams. However, this next altar phase, the 5th altar phase of the game, is going to be important for both teams. JPL, though, making a massive mistake, does get caught out. So first smash hitting once again, and Misfits taking out 2 members of Dignitas.
Very difficult here for Dignitas to do much of anything. I was about to say that Cleanse needs to be on point from Splendor to then get them out of the fact that it will be torn into Leeming combo into Tenacious Roots from Bakery. But they're not even giving them a chance. Every team fight seems to just be almost started by Misfits and ended by Misfits.
And I love this play from Darkmock. You take out 2 members, that means you can afford to peel someone off from the team fight. Ragnaros goes to the bottom lane, starts pushing in, getting that score on the altar point phase a little bit higher for them, and they just siege away here, knocking out a few more shots, knocking their opponents down to what is that now? It's going to be 6
left.
6 left here for Dignitas. This swing of momentum has been insane here.
Very, very strong indeed. And look at how they've been able to make this composition work. Great use of spell damage denial by the majority of their front line. Nerok coming in and playing fantastically on that Zeratul. Even at level 16 now, sentenced to death means that because level 7 makes his bomb last a little bit longer, he's always doing more and more damage when he's needed in those team fights.
Darkmock once again using Molten Core here, going to start sieging away on their opponents. Interesting use of the Molten Core. Oh, I see. He wants to follow up with a Void Prison here. Is he going to be able to land the damage on the bottom left? No, but he starts hitting JPL. JPL has been used, but here comes Mane. But it's going to be a couple of swaps here. Mane really helping out, and it looks like Li Ming getting those resets is going to be very impactful, and Dignitas wins their first team fight.
That was the absolute thing that they needed to try and turn this around, despite them only having 6 shots left. We can take another look at that fight there to break it down down and see exactly how it went down. Obviously, the mosh pit is a big thing, but watch Mene coming from the bottom here, landing the perfect combos, hitting 2 of them square in the face with the orb and then the missiles to finish.
Nice teamwork overall. Bakery giving the cleanse as well, so ETC couldn't be knocked out, and JPL just getting that massive mosh pit. Wonderful teamwork overall, and now they're starting to take the game a little bit back here, getting some pressure on that top lane. Mostly here not to get the fort, but to start moving towards level 20. The experience here is absolutely valuable for them, and lucky for Dignitas, there is only one altar phase here, so if they can't win this altar phase, they can put themselves in a scenario where they're at least in a position to fight later.
And I don't know if you agree on this point, Trick, but something on this map that really hurts Misfits is that when a swing like that happens, it happens even harder when you've got something like an Abathur on your team, because he's always pushing lanes anyway. He's always slowly chipping away at those bell towers. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely helps out a lot. This is where Abathur is in prime real estate, when you start taking forts back, and he can finally move into a position where he can help out with the split pushing of the Locust. Bakery will secure the altar here. Misfits trying to keep up the aggression, though. Saphira Smash does miss, by the way, which is a hefty chunk of the damage here from Ragnaros. Misfits should start pulling back, especially after expending so many heroics.
And Team Dignitas just wants themselves that level 20. If we see Varian and Malfurion getting a lockdown on someone, whilst Ultimate Evolution is up on a Li Ming, so double Li Ming, that can blow someone up instantly. But it's about absolute precision timing, and I think that's where Dignitas excels. They've got a few opportunities to this game towards the later stages, but not so much in the earlier game, and that's why we saw them fall behind. Yeah,
and it really helps that Zelia being on that variant. All he has to say is, hey, I'm hitting E, guys. Do your thing, right? And the other 4 members can just move in and move in. Dignitas. Now slightly away here from hitting level 20. Misfits will be able to grab the fort over here, and now we have this tug of war starting to occur in the late game. Really, even though it's 19-5, Dignitas has put themselves in a position here to, if they play nearly perfect, they can start making the comeback. And this is the map that we see all the comebacks on.
I want to see the Bolt of the Storm into Twilight Dream, my friend. I want to see Bakery go crazy deep, but I don't know if he's going to against Misfits sometimes. That can be a little bit treacherous, I feel, but Bolt into Mosh Pit is something that's very scary here.
That it is. Bolt into Mosh Pit can be quite the deadly combo, and then if you follow up with the Bolt into the Twilight Dream, it's great. Bolt also gives him the tool to get away from Zeratul. Nurok has consistently been on Bakery, forcing him to retreat in some way or some manner. So again, hitting level 20 is a big momentum swing here for Dignitas.
Great timing right in front of their noses. They know that they're doing this boss, but they can't do anything because they're not level 20 right now. They could attempt, but it would almost certainly result in death, unfortunately, for Misfits. So that will be 4 free shots going for Team Dignitas, and they are slowly clawing their way back in.
Unfortunate ultra spawn overall for Dignitas. They have to move all the way down to this area and get set up. A Nubrek is already in position. In fact, Misfits, if they were feeling a little bit spicy at this moment, they could have set up for a really good engagement and maybe catch them on the rotation. However, with them not having level 20, Misfits elected to go for the safer play. Bakery already down the bottom left, starting the channel on the ultra phase, and they get it. They're making it happen here.
Yeah, Zelia and JPL zoning out very well at the front, and again, still no level 20 for Misfits. And that is going to be a lockdown on towards Nubarak. Will they follow it up with the combo? He still has quite a bit of spell armor there available to him. Molten Core's been popped as well. Push those guys away. Burrow, and that goes the Sulfura Smash. Void Prism as well. He is very low.
Ring of Frost combo. It does connect. We're having Malfurion break out the Ice Block, but remember, Ultimate Evolution is done. There is no more Li Ming. This is actually effectively a 5v2 right now. We're going to have the Ancestral Healing go off, and it doesn't quite connect. Jaina will be taken out, but still, 1 member for 2. Great trade for Misfits, and they can start pushing in this bottom lane.
Mene, with the absolute play there on that kill from Jaina, goes in with Calamity. Well, there's 5 members of Misfits right next to him there. So then he was able to know that that was going to kill him, get out of there, and keeps himself alive. What a legend Mene is.
Mene is a legend. In fact, let's check out the replay really quickly and see how Misfits did pull that all off. In the bottom right, I want you to keep your eye on the Ultimate Evolution clone. It actually just walked away from here. They went for the full engage in the bottom left. Zelia trying to keep Nurok in check, but it's just not enough here. He's in the back line. You see Hasuab's working his way on Zelia. He goes in for the engage, and the Ancestral just a smidgen late. Mene gets a takedown, does teleport away, and overall, that puts them in a situation where they can at least hold here for the next phase.
I love it. Imagine just like going out of that situation and not having that kind of 1-for-1 trade-off there for the moment. The Calamity, I love it, Mene. Oh my god, you French legend. But now, Snitchy, well, that's an Ultimate Evolution. Doesn't really matter. You can let that die if you want. I always get
Alright.
scared about Ultimate Evolution, so I'm like, wait a minute, no. Oh, never mind.
Ultimate Evolution, Li Ming in general, those things are just scary words to say.
Yeah.
But what is even more scary is Dignitas is in a situation where they lose if one alter phase is grabbed. And the problem is even if they win this team fight here, they don't get too much value out of it, but it keeps them hanging on the cliff here. Misfits is going to set up in the top right corner. They know they have the win condition.
I see what they're doing here. They're leaving Abathur towards the other altar there to try and control that location, but that's Void Prism. HasWops is channeling. The Void Prism's going to win it, and that is going to channel this out. That is Misfits taking the game trick. What a Void Prism to end off the game.
Narok with the insane Void Prism to set his teammate to grab the altar. Misfits taking game number 1 of HGC Europe 2017, but still a spectacular game to start